In our previous video, we went over adding a multiple choice type of question. In this video, we'll go over several different types of questions that can be added on a Blackboard test canvas. In our previous video, our multiple choice question had 3 possible answers. In a multiple choice question, you add in a question and choose between 2 or up to 100 possible answers. Then, you designate the one correct answer by ticking the button next to the answer choice. In a multiple choice question, partial credit can be awarded, as we demonstrated in our previous video. Multiple choice questions are also automatically graded, which means after the test is finished, you don't have to manually go in and assign points to each student who got it right. Blackboard will automatically do that. So, we'll go ahead to our next type of question, multiple answer. Multiple answer is exactly the same as a multiple choice question. The only difference is it allows you to designate one or more correct answer options by ticking the button next to each correct answer option. Everything else is exactly the same. Let's go over how to do a multiple answer choice. The first thing we'll do is we'll create our question. As mentioned in the previous video, we can go to Create Question at the upper left, or we can go down to our test canvas and click the plus above or below a question that we've already added. Let's click it below the question we've already added. And let's select multiple answer type. A good multiple answer type question is a question where it asks for more than one type of answer. For example, this type of question has many options. For example, how would one get to Scotland? What is the best way? You can take the high road or the low road. So both of these options would be correct. Anything that's not ticked would be considered an incorrect option. Once you're done setting up the question, either click Submit and create another to create another multiple answer type of question, or click Submit to send it to the test canvas. From here, again, you can see all the questions you've created, and you can go ahead and create another type of question. Let's talk about fill-in-the-blank type questions. These are questions in which you type out your question, and then you type out the appropriate response to those questions. For example, if you wanted students to fill in a blank, this is the type of question that you would pick. In this type of question, you select the match sensitivity and the number of possible matching answers. This is also automatically graded. Let's check this out and see how it looks. Fill in the blank type question. A good example for a fill in the blank type question is asking for something that has a specific answer. For example, and this may be a very easy question, the name of the dog in Old Yeller was blank. Now that we've set up our question, we can set up the possible answers. Our first answer choice would be, now you can choose to make this case sensitive, in which If the student types in all caps or all lowercase, it would be marked as incorrect. I prefer not to have this option unless you need something in all caps or all lowercase. For example, an abbreviation. You can also pick the number of possible correct answers. For example, maybe there are two answers. Maybe the name for the dog in Old Yeller was Old Yeller, but also dog was the correct answer as well. In this case, if the student typed in dog or Old Yeller, it would automatically receive the correct number of points. Next, what you can do here is you can determine how specific the match is. By default, it's exact match, which means that student would need to type out Old Yeller or dog exactly as it is right now, and they can't add any extra spaces before or after, and they can't add any letters or numbers or any other comments before or below the answer. You can also do contains. If you choose contains, then for example, if the student types doggy, this would be considered a correct answer, even though the correct answer that you put was dog, because it contains the word dog in it. You can choose to use correct response feedback and incorrect response feedback, as well as add categories and keywords and instructor notes, just the same as a multiple choice or multiple answer type question. When you click Submit, you'll be sent back to the main screen where you can continue to add questions. When you're looking at your fill-in-the-blank type question on the test canvas, you can see the possible types of answers as well as the case sensitivity. If case sensitivity is on, it will say case sensitivity on below. The evaluation method is also available here. If it's just contains, then anything containing this answer will be marked correct. If it says exact match, the student has to type in exactly what the answer is in order to be marked correct. Another type of question that you can add is a true-false question. True-false questions are extremely easy to set up. The only thing that you'll really need to do is add in the question and then click a button to determine whether the correct answer is true or false. Just like the multiple choice and multiple answer questions, this is auto-graded as well. Let's look at an example of a true-false question. Here's where true-false questions can be found under Create Questions. From here, we put in the question that we want to give our students. Then we simply scroll down and click if it's true, or click here if it's false. This question, the quarter is bigger than the dime, that's true, so we're going to make sure that true is selected. Then we click Submit. The next type of question that we will discuss is a hotspot question. Now, you may not have heard of this before, but it's like a visual true or false question, and it's great for testing image-based knowledge. You add a question, attach an image, and then select the correct area of the image. This is also auto-graded. Let's look at an example of a hotspot question. Hotspot questions can be found right over here. Now, a good sample of a hotspot question is one where you have an image at hand and you want the student to point to a specific area on the image or within the image to determine whether that's right or wrong. So first you type out your question. Then you attach your file by going to Browse My Computer. We want the image to be big enough so that the student can look at it and then click where we want them to click. Now, our question was click on helium. So from here, what we need to do is determine where we want our students to click. Helium is over here, so we click our mouse and we drag it over the area we want them to click on. and we let go. You can see that helium is now highlighted. If we need to select something else, we can click clear, and then we can select something else. For a hotspot image, it doesn't necessarily have to be a specific box area. It can be a group, like this. But for this particular question, let's stick with helium. So the correct answer choice would be up here at the upper right hand corner. Now selecting the box means if the student clicks outside the box, anywhere outside the box, the question is automatically graded as incorrect. If the student clicks in the box, anywhere in the box, the question is graded as automatically correct. We can give feedback here, add categories, and add instructor notes if we want. This is what the hotspot question looks like. We see the question over here, and as the instructor, we see the designated answer, which is anywhere within this box. Next, let's talk about a short answer question. A short answer question is when you ask your student a question and then they type out a short response. It could be anywhere from 1 to 6 lines. You can add a rubric and you can add an example answer. Note that this is not automatically graded. Once the student submits the test, you'll have to go in, look at their submitted response, and determine how many points they received for the answer they submitted. Here's how a short answer question looks. A short answer can be selected at the upper right hand corner under Create Question. Here's where you put in the question. And you can see this gives students greater flexibility. So instead of selecting one choice from multiple choice, multiple from multiple answer, or fill in a blank, the student can write a sentence or a passage or a paragraph. Here's where you determine how big the student's response answer will be. You can limit it to 1 line, or you can expand it to up to 6 lines. By default, the student will have 3 lines of text to be able to answer their question, which is equivalent to about 2 sentences. In answer text, we can put in a potential answer. This will be used when we grade the student submissions. Note that you can also add a rubric. If you've already created a rubric, you can pull it out from here. If you haven't, you can create a rubric directly from here. Rubrics can be used to score individual short answer, essay, or file upload questions. Once you're done, you click the Submit button. And here's how your short answer question looks. Essay type questions are very similar to short answer type questions. The only difference is the students have an unlimited amount of lines to reply to. You create it the same way. First, we go to Create Question, then we select Essay. From here, we type out the question text. You see that there's no option to limit the amount of lines. The student can submit as many lines as they like. Optionally, you can put in an answer, and optionally, you can add a rubric. We'll click the Submit button, and we'll see that our essay type question has been added. The last type of question that we'll discuss today is a file response question. This is great for questions where you want your students to show their work. For example, a math problem that they need to solve, but they also need to show how they got there. This allows the student to upload a file as a response to a question. This can also be used for project-based submissions such as PowerPoints, Word documents, or Excel files. To create this, you simply add in a question, and that's it. It could be scored using a rubric, and again, it's not automatically graded. You'll have to come in here and grade the student's response and determine how many points they receive out of the maximum total. Let's add a file response question. This may be a good type of question to use our math editor. And there we have it. We can add a rubric if we like. We can add a category. We can add instructor notes. The student will need to upload a file in response to this question. Now, the student can upload a digital file such as a Word document, a PDF, or a PowerPoint. If the student takes out a piece of paper and writes the answer on a piece of paper, they can use their phone to take a picture of that and upload that as a file response. On these types of questions, it's often a good idea to let the student know how they can submit their file response. So we're going to go in here and we're going to edit our question to give the students more clarity. To edit our question, we hover over the name of our question and we click the chevron and click Edit. Since these questions typically take a little bit longer to answer than other questions, we recommend giving students additional time if you choose to use these types of questions. In addition to the types of questions that we went over, there are several other types if you'd like to use these. These are a little bit more complicated, so we recommend you going to our Blackboard.com help site. The URL for Blackboard help is help.blackboard.com. We're going to be adding the complete URL under this video in our knowledge base. Here's the web page that it will take you to. Under where it says Ultra Available Question Types, we'll see each of the question types that we've added, in addition to some ones that we haven't had the opportunity to discuss. To find out more information, click on the question type, and then scroll down to read the instruction. Note that we use Blackboard Learn Original and not Blackboard Ultra, so for any help and documentation from the Blackboard website, make sure that you're reading the Learn or the Original answers. Our next video will cover other ways to upload questions.